Today is my 1,134th night sleeping in an Airbnb. For the past 3 years, I lived permanently in Airbnbs. Based on that experience, this video is suggestions for improvement for Airbnb. Before I started living in Airbnbs though, I worked at Airbnb. I was an employee of Airbnb back in 2013. Since then, I've become a superhost, a property manager. I've written the best-selling book for Airbnb hosts. But this video is gonna be suggestions from my perspective as a guest. It's gonna be the guest side of the platform. I also made a video as the host side of the platform, suggestions for improvements, usability issues. That video I will link in the description. So let's jump into it. But I'm so rude, apologies. Airbnb, come join me in my living room of my Airbnb. Let's have a discussion. Now, I got a bunch of things. I'm gonna start with search. Search is a big pain point because Airbnb, you guys have so many listings. It's so hard for guests to choose the right listing for them. So first and foremost, the thing that annoys me and probably every guest on there is when I archive a message, that message is to be archived forever and always. That's how it should be. How it is now is if the host writes a message, responds, if they pre-approve, or if they had already pre-approved and that pre-approval expires, any action on that message thread after I archive it brings that back to my inbox. It's a big time waster because if I message 5, 6, 7, 8 hosts, Airbnb hosts, and I archive a message, that one comes back up. Well, usually I'm taking about a day to book because I'm waiting for hosts to get back to me. So now I have to go back and click on that listing, click on that message thread. And by the way, when I'm on a message thread, an active message thread, I can't actually click the listing. So now I have to find that listing, read that, and that listing, of course, to me looks like, wait a minute, did I already archive this? Did I already decide against this? And then I have to read the message thread, and then I realize, oh yeah, this one doesn't work out because they don't have a full kitchen or a stove or a desk or whatever. So the user, the guest archives a message, always archived. Allow the guest to input a destination, and then it tells me how many minutes drive and walk to that destination. Because a lot of hosts don't click a specific location selection on the map, so it's a more general area. But sometimes it really does matter by the block where I'm at. If I'm going to a concert venue, maybe that extra 3 blocks is an extra 20-minute ride. So, and same with the airport, anything. I want to type in, SFO, San Francisco Airport. I don't see the address, but I type that in on the listing and it tells me, hey, you're 22, this exact address is 22 minutes from San Francisco Airport. As I mentioned earlier, I'm here in Bali, and Bali has specific amenities to this area, as do places all over the globe. I would love it, Airbnb, for you to allow the host to tell you what their sellable features are. So for example, here in Ubud, rice paddy views. I want rice paddy views. That's like the reason I come here. I love this setting. But I have to go through all the pictures of hosts. But I would love it to select an amenity specific to Ubud, rice paddy views. Let me show you some other examples right here in this house. Come with me, Airbnb. Come with me to the bedroom here. One might be outdoor-indoor bathroom. That's a big sellable feature a lot of guests want. This thing here, I love this thing. I didn't even know it was a thing. A bed net to keep out the mosquitoes. A prior Airbnb I was at didn't have this. I came to this one, and this is amazing. I would love for the host to identify in their amenities, hey, we have a bed net, whatever this thing is called, so that I can search for that. Another thing is a bed lamp. I know it seems simple, but as a bedtime reader, this is huge. If there's no bedside lamp, it decreases the experience. So I would specifically search, hey, what listings have a bedside lamp? That's what I want. Okay, back to the living room. Oh, hey, can I ask you a favor? Click the red subscribe button below and the bell next to it for notifications because it will make me very happy and encourage me to make more videos. Thank you. I want you to encourage guests, Airbnb, to leave less than 5-star reviews. This goes back to the ease of search. I need to be able to figure out what listing is best for me. I want to make the most of my travel experience. But all guests leave 5-star reviews. So it's like you recently updated the app so that it shows 2 decimals. So it used to be 4.8, but now it's 4.76 or 4.84. That's a good improvement. But encourage guests, let them know, hey, 5-star experience means like it was over the top perfect. They had all the kitchen amenities. The electricity worked 100% of the time. There was hot water in the bathroom. The Wi-Fi was fast. That's a 5-star listing, and that would help a lot of guests find a place if that's what they want. And what comes along with a 5-star listing is a more expensive price. But a 4-star listing on the platform right now is like, you stay away from that at all costs. Even below a 4.5, it's like, whoa, I'm asking for a huge discount if I'm going below that. It shouldn't be like that. 4 is good. 3 is average, 2 is bad, and 1 is very bad. That really would cut down the searching time on your platform. And allow me to search by the rankings. Allow me to search by price as well. Okay, Airbnb, I've got a few more, but actually, believe it or not, I'm checking out of this Airbnb today and I'm checking into another one. So I'll see you soon. Oh, hey, Airbnb, you beat me here. Come on in, have a seat. Let's continue our conversation. Something that I forgot to mention at the beginning that troubles guests and hosts alike is the general slowness of the platform. Oh, it is slow. It is so slow. It needs to be sped up, especially when you're going through the messages and when you're sending messages. It just takes, you're seeing it now, it just takes so much time. Additionally, when you are a guest and you're messaging hosts, well, if there's an active inquiry, I'm showing you this now, you can't actually click on the listing. If there's an active inquiry, this is really frustrating. If there's an active inquiry, the guest cannot click on the listing. All they can see is the cover photo and the title. So as you can imagine, if a guest is searching for many listings, they have to find that listing in search, or they have to go to the host profile, hope that they just have a couple listings, and then find the list. That's an extra 3 or 4 clicks each time. The guest should be able to click any listing from an active message thread. This is on mobile. This is true for the host side as well. If the host is inquiring with a guest, the host can't check their own listing. If a host has numerous listings and doesn't know each listing by the title, the host has this issue too. When I'm searching, as a guest, I really don't like that you move the map for me. Airbnb, if I've moved the map, if I've narrowed the map down, I'm good, I'm set, I've done it, I've looked at that. But then I go to the second and third page and you shift the map, you zoom it out, you zoom it out typically. It's like, no, stop that. There's enough listings for me to go through. I've narrowed the map down. Don't move the map after I've already moved it. This is how I use the map quite a bit, predominantly to filter my listings. If you don't take a prior recommendation of mine, which is allow me to search by price, high to low, low to high. Well, if you don't do that, then let me delete listings. If I know a listing just not good for me, let me delete it. I don't want to see it again. That helps you with your machine learning too. But again, it all goes back, there's so many listings. As a guest, and I'm going to get to my next suggestion is going to solve this problem. But there's so many listings, it really is hard for a guest to choose the listing that's really right for them. Until your machine learning gets good enough where it really suggests what listing is for sure good enough for me, some of these changes need to be made. One change is introduce like a community forum where I, as a guest, I can say, I'm here in Ubud, I can say, hey, I want to live in this area. This is my budget. I want 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, these normal things, but I also want a balcony view of the rice paddies. I want an indoor living room. I can specify these things, and then the hosts can send their listing based on my specifications. That means I don't have to search, and I can get a few listings that meet my specific criteria. If you implement this one, though, as I'm sure you're aware, you'll have to go through some strategy on how to make sure that all the hosts don't just message a guest, no important if their listing actually qualifies. But that would help me out as a guest. Oh, it would help me out tremendously. Your wish lists are a great idea, but they're useless because you don't allow me to add notes. You used to allow me to add notes, but now you don't anymore. I don't know why. This is a general trend I see on the host and the guest side. Your best platform was 2016. It's taken kind of a gradual decline in slowness and usability issues. This is one of them. Why did you get rid of the notes in the wish list? The wish list is like, I need wish lists, especially if I go back to places. Given experiences, they're okay. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of them, but I've taken maybe about a dozen in numerous different countries that I've been in. But why do you list 10 of the same experiences? When I was in Dubai, I saw there was like 3 experiences. Desert safari, 20 of them. Skydiving, 15 of those, and then the typical like food and bar crawls. Just tell me the best or the top 2 or 3, and if there's a difference in the 2, then you could tell me that as well. But the desert safaris, they were like, I think they were even by the same provider. I think some of them have even the same cover photos. And then I get feedback professionally. I help Airbnb hosts around the world, 56 countries so far, and some of them have come to me and say, hey, I would love to get an experience on your platform. And some of these experiences, I think of it and think, oh, that's a unique experience. That would be great to be having on the platform. One of them was a magician in Ukraine. I thought, wow, that's a fantastic idea. And so I helped him get his experience on the platform, and then I took that experience. So on one hand, some hosts with really good experiences are not getting on the platform, but on the other hand, some hosts with really generic experiences. I took one in Vietnam where it was just a big box tour, like a big red bus tour that you guys are, Brian, I remember you speaking about this when you first launched this, about your parents going to Paris. And you had some photos of them, eating at Subway, doing the big bus tour. I remember that. And this is what you're trying to avoid. But the tour that I took in Vietnam, it was just a repackaged of this like mass tourism type thing. And it wasn't authentic or exhilarating. It wasn't special at all. It wasn't magical, as it used to be called, magical trips. Going back to the map, show me the pins I've already looked at. If the map is here and I'm doing different varied searches, well, let me know which of those pins I've already searched and which I haven't. Additionally, if there's many listings in one area, instead of making me go to numerous pages, why don't you say, like, instead of that pin just being a pin, maybe a pin that says like 5 to let me know, hey, there's like 5 listings in this area. I'm in an area right now in Ubud, and there's a lot of listings in this specific area. It's quite specific, and I like it because it's all covered with rice paddies. But I have to do varied searches to find them all, or I have to keep it too general, where a lot of the listings weren't applicable to me. For example, the one behind me is a hostel. Speaking of which, but if I wanted a hostel, you guys should add a selection on search for hostel. I'm a long-term traveler. Like I said, I live in Airbnbs over 1,100 nights. And for me, a review from a guest who stayed a month or longer, or 2 weeks or longer, is different than a guest who's staying for 2 or 3 days. Different issues come with those different length of reviews. Whereas I'm staying for 2 or 3 days, I can ignore some things. But if I'm staying for a month, these things I can ignore 2 or 3 days, I cannot ignore when I'm a month. So that would help me out as a guest, knowing the length of stay each per review on the listing page. Airbnb, I want you to make solo travel better, easier. You have the data. I think you have the ability. This is what hostels have over you. They have a community effect. But if I'm traveling like I do, I have to use my own resources to make connections with other people. But why not create some sort of like a guest network where solo travelers can gather together? A great example is couch surfing. They have a tool on their app where you can basically click on, and it shows you to everyone in the area who else has clicked on. And it says, like, there are 27 other travelers near you, solo travelers near you, who are interested in hanging out, doing something right now. And then you write on, I want to go to a bar, or I want to go to a cafe, or I want to go hike this mountain. That's a great feature. That's what you guys can add in. When I was first starting to travel, what was more important then than is now, but it was important at this time, was I wanted to have an active host, a host who I could ask questions, who I could even hang out with. Whether that's renting a private room, sometimes hosts rent out their private rooms, but they're not there. I would like to know if I'm renting this room, if those hosts are going to be on site, or if they're not on site. If I'm renting a whole home, is this host really fully applicable? Is this like a full-time host maybe who is there for me totally to answer any kind of questions? And finally, Airbnb. Why do you, when there's issues with reservations, you tend to delete out that reservation from the system? You wipe it clean. This is on the host side as well. And it's quite frustrating. And to be honest, it seems, not that I need these messages, but it seems suspicious, like you're trying to cover your tracks. Whether or not I have a bad reservation, I want you to keep that information within the platform always. It should always be there. And don't change the number. When I cancel the reservation, the host cancels, don't change that number to 0. Change that to keep that what it was, and then just add a line item saying canceled -800 to make it 0, or whatever it might be. All right, hey, Airbnb, I appreciate the time that you have given me to listen to one of your super guests. By the way, this is a program that you referenced in February 2018. Said it was going to come out later that year. It still hasn't come out. I'm not worried. I would be a super guest, and it would be quite interesting. So maybe you can give an announcement on that after this coronavirus situation plays itself out. If you're watching this video as an Airbnb guest, what are some things that I missed? What are some improvements that you have that Airbnb can make to make it a more usable, fun, enjoyable platform from your perspective? Till then, see you guys later.